Hello everybody, welcome to a YouTube only cast here. I'm Wardy, and we are casting a couple of awesome players today as we start in the bottom right hand side of the map, Disco Bloodbath, with the blue Protoss player, Zest, representing Ocean Gaming, up against the red Terran in the top left hand side from Storm Gaming, GuMiho. In a best of 3, this tournament, or this match, came from the tournament, the Alpha Pro Series Ultimate Showdown, a $500 event. It was a match from one of the group stages, and I do have the replay pack of this tournament. It was available through their Match Reno page if you guys want to get a hold of it yourselves. I'm sure you can find it with a little bit of Googling. But, yeah, I'm going to kind of look at these replays and we'll see how many of them we cast. There's some cool matchups in here. Classic is playing, Cure, Hero, Ragnarok. There's also Solar and Fantasy. I think that's actually all of the players. So if there's any of those players in particular you'd like to see, as always, let me know down in the comments below, because I'm going to be scraping my way through this replay pack for the next little while when it comes to YouTube casts, as well as, I mean, there's a new Elimo League out tomorrow, right? So we'll see who signs up for Elimo League, and we'll see what we do from there as well. Because obviously right now we are kind of casting quite a few matches on YouTube, but there's only so much going on that we can grab replays for, so just try and do that as much as possible as we set this up. Game 1 of this best of 3. Let's get into the game. Of course, just before we do, as always, I'm going to ask you to please consider liking the video, and also don't forget to whack that sub button so you can find out when we go live again in the future. Click the little bell, get some notifications. Obviously, I say when we go live, when we put a video live. Of course, this is YouTube, not Twitch. Wardy Brain, remember, we're on YouTube here. So yeah, consider subscribing. We're slowly pushing up that sub number. We've had a pretty good week on the YouTube, so looking to keep it rolling. This game number 1 is on Disco Bloodbath, and GuMiho just opening with a pretty typical Reaper expansion, and Zest with a pretty typical gate. And then he did go Nexus before the core, so this is not going to be aggressive at all. This is not going to be a unit running across the map super quickly. And it should mean that GuMiho has plenty of time to finish up this command center. The Adept can still go across the map, although typically here its better option is to just defend the Reaper in it early on. If you want to go across the map, you go Core and then Nexus, because the speed of that Adept really means a lot. The thing is, though, Zest decided to wall off with this gateway in the Cybercore to block the Reaper jump-up path on this little corner of the base. And because of that, he puts himself in a position where the Adept then has to go all the way looping around to get out of the base as well, right? So as the Adept picks up the Reaper kill, it's just going to delay any sort of push across the map. So if you're looking to be quick, this is not really the setup / map to do it on, because of the tendency to wall off on this little area. So as the Reaper did get picked off by the Adept, it did get to see, if I'm not mistaken, the Stargate. So GuMiho picking up that information early on here. As we do see first Marauder on the way up, Hellion in production, and a Starport dropping down. A 1-1-1 setup, but the Marauder very aggressive, but actually he's going to move off of that tech lab, so it's just going to be the one Marauder. No reactor early in the game, which is a little bit different from what you usually expect to see. As this Adept shares forwards, it will see the Marauder. In a way, I wonder if it's almost a fake out, you know. This Adept getting up the ramp is a shame, because in a way, if you see that Marauder only, that's like concussive shells, Marauder attack. You know, maybe he starts adding on shield battery, but then he sees the factory on attack, and he's like, okay, well, you're building a Cyclone early instead. And the Marauder is just there kind of a bit more as a safety than anything else. Because Oracle is about to fly in. Cyclone is not out yet, but there's a Viking coming up too. I mean, it's a very safe setup, of course, from GuMiho. It's just the timing is that a little bit off, and 2 SCVs will fall victim to that as the Oracle takes its leave up through the top side of the map. Meanwhile, the one Hellion went on a bit of a scouting patrol, and it did get into the main base, so gets full info of what's being built. He sees, well, 2 Phoenix and a 3rd one coming, so Zest has a very good idea. GuMiho has a very good idea of what Zest is getting up to here. A couple of extra gateways will drop down. Oracle continuing down to the bottom right side. And that Nexus here from Zest coming up on the 3rd base. There's the Oracle, a couple of Phoenix. Just hanging around in the main. Another Phoenix popping out here. Now there's 2 depots finishing up. Engineering Bay about to be completed. GuMiho transitioning quite nicely though, right? He still has to deal with those Phoenix, of course, but he's already into his 3 barracks. He is not really overcommitted on 1-1-1 aggression. In fact, it's just been a very defensive 1-1-1 opening. Against the Stargate, a Viking Cyclone opener makes a heck of a lot of sense. The barracks are building their own double reactor here, so the Starport will probably build its own reactor as well. Keep the factory on attack lab, build a couple of siege tanks early. It kind of depends, because obviously you do know it's Phoenix, and siege tanks aren't great against Phoenix. They can be lifted up and taken out of the fight pretty quickly. But in a way, that can also bait the Phoenix forwards to an extent and say, hey, you know, if you lift up this siege tank, you can take it out of action, but then I can target down your Phoenix with my Marines. So we'll see what he does build out of the factory. I mean, I was kind of convinced, I didn't say it, but I was kind of convinced he might have moved the factory to a reactor for Widow Mines and moved this back to the Tech Lab to sort of combat shields already. But I guess against the Phoenix, you also don't want to be too Marauder heavy, because these Phoenix will lift up one of the Cyclones and get the kill just for some shield and hull damage. But yeah, you don't really want to build too many Marauders, right? So the double Tech Lab on the barracks wouldn't make much sense. You're going to go pretty much pure Marine here for a while, especially with this follow-up charge on the way out. And that means like there's going to be a lot of Zealots, so again, you're really hoping to have a lot of Marines and DPS output. So, you know, sticking to the double reactor here makes sense, in which case you probably are going to build tanks. Like I say, the tanks aren't bad just because, well, this Cyclone shouldn't have been out here. Tanks aren't bad just because the Phoenix can lift them up. I mean, obviously that's a tool that the Phoenix can, you know, something the Phoenix can do. But like I said, it does bait those Phoenix forwards and it does give you some weird complications. Temple Archives now dropping down. So this is something that Trap has really popularized. And obviously Trap people are like, he's the best PvTer in the world right now. And he does some kind of weirder, different builds. And this is kind of one of them. The Phoenix, which then don't transition into Colossus. Instead he goes Charge. And, you know, on paper it doesn't really sound like it should be that great. But in reality, you get a lot of map control, you get up to a lot of Zealots, and then you get the Temple Archives down. And because he builds more than just like 4 to 5 Phoenix, they are a real threat that will keep GuMiho pinned back here. So Zest doing a good job of keeping GuMiho busy for the moment. He's released him into the third base. That's a recall. I mean, a recall of the Phoenix here means you can actually target down the medevac, although that is one of the Phoenix lost. So good target fire in there by the Marines, and this medevac will go down. 6 SCVs were killed though, so that is going to be the Phoenix having a pretty good time before they came back across here. You can see how much has been lost, the efficiency of this composition from Zest. I mean, that's just Phoenix all over. 2,000 to 500 is pretty crazy. Obviously, a good bit of that was the fact we just saw, what, like 400, 500 minerals and 100 gas lost in a medevac that didn't really achieve anything. So, if you take that away, I'd say the Phoenix play is pretty standard. The drop was a little bit questionable from GuMiho, as you do see Zest setting up into a robot facility at the front of the Natural. So, getting that up and ready to roll as we have a medevac and a few Marines down the left side. Phoenix still gathering up more Zealots and Archon, pressing up into the center as well. And one Marine over on this right-hand side picked off as well, as GuMiho not allowed information just yet. Building that third CC in position, 4th and 5th racks down behind it. Zest is still built for Phoenix here, by the way. He's using a lot of his energy on just singular Marines at the moment. That's fine as long as he has you know, the energy left for a fight. Ooh, Zest warping in the top right. Wants to get aggressive, wants to catch this arm. He's going to find himself a siege tank there. Well, you can't really complain at that. The next siege tank is lifted up into a medevac, which is taking hits now. Widow Mines are going to unburrow, and here he goes. Zest pushing forward. The Widow Mines going to get themselves a couple of shots initially, but nothing too crazy. The Zealots will just keep charging in. Zest GuMiho up. This game was almost just one disaster after another. You know, we started off with Zest being a player who comes into this and just gets his Phoenix up, you know, looked for some light harassment, and this harassment got a bit out of control. GuMiho, I'm not sure what he was doing with that Cyclone that was at the base. He had his Viking sat in the Natural on its own, losing those. Then on top of that, he sends this drop across the map. Zest just recalls and just cleans it up. It just doesn't make much sense. I mean, honestly, Zest recalled just to make sure he could kill the medevac. He didn't need to recall to clean that up. Like, he had Zealots in position already. They wouldn't take much damage, and then a couple of other units come in. He could have kept the Phoenix across the map. And so that combination of just cleaning up a unit after unit after unit here, and then obviously, you know, it's a really punishing composition when you've lost units, because the Zealots are so good, and if you don't have the damage output to get through the Zealots, they get out of control quick. And so if GuMiho has lost too many units up until that point, it's not going to be pretty. And this is a scenario where the Widow Mines got the first couple of Zealots, nothing else. He lost a tank before the fight. The second tank never sieged up. And so on top of being in a bad position to fight against what Zest was doing, he was caught out on the map with an army of Zest that would love to catch you out on the map. And hence it goes very, very badly for GuMiho here, as we do see Zest picking up game number 1 of this best of 3. Game number 2 coming up. Let's have a look to see if GuMiho will have a bit of a better answer if Zest does something similar, or we'll see if Zest is going to maybe change it up himself in game 2. Game number 2. And in the top left-hand side, our player who is up 1-0. In the blue, it's Zest. I haven't seen a lot of Zest lately. I feel like I cast a lot of Zest when it comes to these kind of YouTube matches because he's a very popular player, and you know, let's not lie. I generally try and pick the popular players, right? It's the guys that you guys usually want to see. But it feels like it's been a little while since I got to catch Zest in a tournament or so. I think it's because my own Korean event, Zest didn't do very well in. He fell out of the groups, and obviously the tournament I'm currently running, the Summer Championship, you guys will know it's obviously pretty extended, it's pretty drawn out, right? And so it being so drawn out has definitely kind of meant that we've only seen the same few players quite a lot, which is definitely a negative to consider going into the future. Interesting. We have seen a fair amount of GuMiho, our red Terran player from Sidestone Gaming. I'm sure you guys will see a couple more GuMiho videos soon from that Summer Championship as he continues to advance through the rounds. Probe down through the center of the map, passes by the watchtower, and he's just going to continue down to the bottom here, so looking to see what's going on. Probe popping up to the main, going to start nibbling away at this SCV, so a bit of damage being done, and the second SCV is going to pull over to try and fight this off. Barracks will complete, and just going to be seeing the Cyber Core here is on its way up as well. So Zest getting that Cybernetics Core built up, ready to roll. So we do have the Probe of Zest also just running a couple of laps right now, running around in a couple of circles, seeing what it can do, just trying to block that command center from coming up. So GuMiho will build it slightly out of position. I mean, at the end of the day, blocking a Terran's command center is a very minor delay because, you know, it takes them, what, like a second or two to pick it up and put it back down. So it's not the end of the world. It's annoying, right? If this probe wants to stay on the map anyways, you may as well block it because, hey, a couple of seconds is a couple of seconds. You know, so if this probe's going to stay here anyways as a scouting mechanism, then sure, why not? But if you're going to send your probe home to get back to mining, then obviously at that stage, you know, why stick around to block the CC? In a way, it's also kind of looking to see what unit comes out, right? Because he gets to see the Marine first, so this is a bit different to usual, right? Because usually he might have been blocking until a little bit later, then obviously the Reaper's starting to come out, so he sends the probe back, so that the Reaper can't kill it. Because he sees the Marine, he has to pull back and get away now, but then he knows there's no Reaper, so he knows he's actually safe to stay on the map for longer, and so he will stay on that map for longer. As GuMiho gets a couple of extra Marines on the way out, Factory is about to complete here as well in the next few moments, and once again Zest will open with the Stargate. So looking to see if Zest will go for a similar style this time around with the Phoenix. Obviously we're in a scenario where, you know, you can start getting those Phoenix up, and, you know, it worked very well last time, and so I'd be interested to see if GuMiho changes up much this time around. Already this game, I wouldn't mind in production, so it feels like we're going to see that bit of a standardized kind of Widowmine medevac drop. Now remember, he doesn't have the Reaper, right? So he doesn't have the confirmation of what this is. As last game he did know it was a Stargate, he built very defensively against that with the Cyclone, with the Viking. This time, playing a bit blind, but playing a very kind of catch-all build. The Widowmine drop is pretty typically just good across the board. But it can still, obviously, if you have Widowmines out of position, this Oracle can still do pretty well. The difference being there is a good amount of Marines, so they can fight against the Oracle a bit more easily, and kind of cover for if the Widowmines are going across the map in the medevac. And this time it's going to be a second Oracle, so Zest already making changes, 2 extra gates as well, probably expecting a third Oracle, and probably expecting to see a few Adepts coming across the map and really getting aggressive in these early stages. This Adept-Oracle combination is very, very frustrating because there's almost no right choice of what you target down first. If you target down the Adepts first, the Oracle's going to deal a crap ton of damage. If you target down the Oracles first, you're probably going to lose enough Marines so that then you can't kill the Adepts very quickly and they get out of hand. And so you typically need a bunker in that sort of scenario to really help you out. 4 SCVs lost to this Oracle is very impressive. And he actually cancelled the third Oracle to build a Phoenix instead, so Zest changing his mind a little bit. Maybe based on what he saw, he feels like it's not quite worthwhile going into that attack. Viking now on the way up. We still yet to see that Widowmine drop coming over. So Widowmine dropping a couple of Marines. He's going to head down into the main base while the Marines coming around the left. They are going to circumvent this couple of Stalkers and the Adept here. So let's see what happens. The thing is, the Oracle should be able to activate insta-kill those Widowmines basically. The Marines fighting over there. Yeah, Widowmine's doing absolutely nothing here. Final Widowmine can be lifted by the Phoenix if required. There it is. Lifted, and now of course the Oracle's just cleaned it up as well. The Oracle's actually out of energy, but the other gateway units are coming in, and that is going to be that Widowmine picked off. Full defense here by Zest, really good coverage. I mean, put all of his units in the right places, had units at the front to fight off those Marines, the Oracle Phoenix in the main base because he realized the Riddle Mine drop was coming in. Really well positioned here, and Zest gets a full cleanup. I mean, that was just very, very nicely done. If GuMiho had come around the other side of the Riddle Mine drop, imagine, he might have been able to get into this natural because there wasn't much on the natural, but the way he did attack, Zest's positioning was absolutely on point. And behind this, Zest gets a third Nexus. So Zest is already up to a nice, fast third base that's going to allow him to really start, pumping his economy here in this game number 2 now. So Zest looking great as he drops down the Forge, he drops down the Twilight. He will transition a bit fast this time. 3 Phoenix, it feels like he might just be done with that production. No, not yet. Okay, he's going to keep going. 4th Phoenix on the way, so he's still building up into that Phoenix count. As GuMiho is going to go into Macfield Accelerator, so we'll commit to these powered up Cyclones. Interesting because obviously we have a few Phoenix here, and so the Cyclones won't do bonus damage to the Phoenix with Macfield. They will do bonus damage to the Oracles though. 4 extra barracks. GuMiho has got a 3rd CC already coming down, so a pretty fast 3rd CC, so his own economy isn't looking bad here as 3 Vikings, Cyclones, there's no way these Phoenix are going to push in right there. Obviously now Stim Pack starts. It's going to be a little while until we have Stim coming up. With a 5-rack setup, we'll expect double Tech Lab and probably triple Reactor behind this as well. Just, get Stim combat shields, and then again, probably looking to really just pump out Marines against the composition Zest is beginning to build, depending on what GuMiho kind of sees here at the moment. There's Tech Lab number 2, and there's Reactor number 3, so very expected setup is GuMiho will push to the center of the map, but with no real intentions. Just looking to clean out the map control, take the watchtower for himself, which will only last a moment or two. Phoenix come back over and pick that Marine off. So GuMiho has to pull back down to the bottom again. Well, the 3rd CC is upright, so he can move that into position, and that's what he will do. Takes the forward position as well. Always that kind of conflicting interest in how you want to expand as a Terran versus a Protoss. Protoss wants to expand backwards, stay away from the Terran play, This base is terrible for Protoss because, you hit the drop, hit an attack here, pick up, drop into the main, drop into the... it just gets out of hand. Attack here, you're generally coming in from the right-hand side, so dropping into the natural is quite tough because you fly across the Nexus. And so typically you can just keep your army in the center here, and then you can respond quite easily right or left. Over here, it's like, your army's kind of got to be here. It just doesn't work as well. It really doesn't. So, nice decision to take this base, and even the top right-hand base. That's how serious Zest is about not taking the forward position, which GuMiho obviously will set up for. Does shoot down one of the Oracles here, so finally picking up a kill. The Marines are wandering forwards to try and get under the Phoenix, which they will do. 1 and 2 Phoenix going down. Mistake from Zest, and GuMiho capitalizes on the opportunity to grab a couple of kills there. 3 more Vikings and 3 more Cyclones coming over to the 3rd base, and we're just going to be seeing the Robo Facility and the Robo Bay dropping down in the natural expansion as well. Blink about halfway done, +1 attack. Coming up on the Forge, Phoenix will pick up a couple of SCVs. A couple of SCVs going down. SCV's going to go and continue building up those supply depots. Marines from GuMiho in at the center of the map. Phoenix and the Oracle from the right-hand side, and just going to be seeing the Marine on the bottom side going down. Army pressing up through the center. You're going to see this Northern Mine going to get picked off, so get taken down as we do have the Phoenix again coming around the right side. A couple of extra Colossus on the way up from Zest. Again, a couple of Colossus up and ready to roll. A few more Zealots on the way out as well, and +1 and Blink dropping down on the Forge and the Twilight Council. Continuing to build up into this as Colossus are going to be an addition here, which GuMiho has no real intention of dealing with. He's going into Liberators. Liberators against Colossus aren't good until you have like 6 to 8 of them. And so it's going to be very, very tough, especially considering this is double Robo Facility Colossus. It's going to be really, really tough to make something happen here. As we do have the Ghost Academy dropping down the back of this mineral line. Oracle and a few Phoenix going up the right-hand side, and the Zealots here from Zest going to continue pressing forwards. Now, this is quite a few Zealots. GuMiho is very unfortunate just to load up these drops, because he obviously had a good amount of units here to defend this. And he's just kind of lifted up the Marines, which is kind of the damage output, and now the Zealots do not really a lot more, but they definitely do more than they should have originally gotten done here. Meanwhile, Army out in the center has to back away. Colossus a bit too much. One Marine finds the 4th base in the top right. GuMiho is just going running again. No real answer to Colossus yet. going into Ghosts as well at the moment. He doesn't have enhanced shockwaves just yet. What I fear for GuMiho is he's invested into all of this tech that doesn't save him from the real threat at the moment. And Zest is about to hit Colossus number 3 and 4. If he goes with those Colossus, he is going to have an absolutely amazing time. You know, if he just gets these set up, if he gets those going forwards, he's going to have a really awesome time. He has a few extra Stalkers will warp in, a couple of extra gateways, touch down over the side. Zest is going to sit back, but honestly, I feel sitting back is just giving GuMiho time to get away with the fact he's building Liberators. I mean, there's only 3 Vikings up at the moment. And I guess it is scary when you're pushing in towards their third base and there's, you know, Liberators covering the entrance, but just gotta remember that is only 2 Liberators out of, you know, 2 Liberators will only do so much damage. Stalkers blink in. That's all the Cyclones killed off. We're at a stage in the game where the Cyclones don't really much matter. The units which don't really scale well later in the game, even with that Magfield Accelerator upgrade. If you're not building a lot of Cyclones, they're very niche in terms of their uses. You know, you can maybe get them to pick away at a couple of, you know, units here. Maybe they can shut down a prison, but outside of that, in a larger fight, not so great. No enhanced shockwaves. This would be a great time for Zest to fight before those crazy EMPs can get off. 4 Liberators holding the front here now. There's a couple of EMPs that will go down. It hits quite nicely on the Zealots. You can see the Stalkers just blink in. Priority, target down those Liberators. And like I said, there's just not enough Liberators here to punish that sort of move. And with 4 Colossus here, this Bio Army really is just not going anywhere. The Vikings don't kill the Colossus anywhere near fast enough. So the Bio Army just absolutely melts. And again, GuMiho just did not build the right sort of set of units to be able to make this work. He is sat here building Liberators and Ghosts when he needs Vikings ASAP. Zest takes game number 2 and will win this series. And will advance to, I believe, the winners match of this group from the Alpha X Pro Series Ultimate Showdown. I'm not sure. I get the feeling we might cast that winners match. Like I say, I'm not sure which of these matches we're going to end up casting. I'm going to have a skim through and see what might be popular, but do let me know in the comments down below if you have any ideas what you'd like to see. Again, also depends kind of, again, like I was saying earlier, just what Alimu League has to offer in the replay pack this week as well. So we'll have a little bit of a look. We'll have a little bit of a see what we end up casting in this. But yeah, Zest takes it down 2-0. I'd say pretty convincing play. Some mistakes from GuMiho. And Zest takes this series down. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget, if you didn't already, consider liking the video and do consider subscribing. It goes a long way to help out. And we will be back with more YouTube content every day this week. We are going to be doing a mixture of YouTube-only casts as well as a couple of casts from the stream. We have some good matches coming up in the form of WardiTV Summer Championship, China Team Championship, and also we've got a WardiTV Lenovo Legion Invitational going on. Make sure you check out the stream if you want to catch any of that live. And thank you again for dropping by today, checking out the video. Have a great rest of